Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating collision of corporate marketing, internet meme culture, and fast food. We're going to completely break down that bizarre PR disaster where McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski sat down for what was supposed to be a simple taste test of the new Big Arch Burger, but accidentally created an absolute goldmine of internet memes. See, by trying to appear totally relatable and down to earth, the guy managed to do the exact opposite. It sparked a massive wave of online mockery, forensic meme analysis, and even some pretty savage retaliation from rival brands. Okay, let's quickly run through our roadmap for today's analysis. We've got the Big Arch Taste Test, the timeline of a viral meme, analyzing the product quotes, the Squidward bite explained, Burger King bites back, and finally, the cost of corporate cringe. Section 1. The Big Arch Taste Test, a corporate lunch. Picture this. It's February, and McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski sits down to casually review their highly anticipated new menu item, the Big Arch Burger, for his Instagram followers. But right from the jump, you can tell the energy is just completely off. To really understand the mismatch here, you have to picture the massive plate in front of him. We are talking 2 quarter-pound beef patties, 3 slices of melted white cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and their signature tangy sauce. It's literally a caloric mountain. And keeping that sheer size in mind is absolutely crucial to understanding why his reaction ended up looking so wildly out of place.
Section 2, Timeline of a Viral Meme. A slow burn.
You know, this PR disaster didn't actually happen overnight. It kinda simmered quietly before absolutely boiling over across every major social media platform. Let's trace that digital footprint. It started super quietly on February 3rd on Kempczinski's personal Instagram account. It didn't get much traction at all until February 5th when an ex-user named Hustlebitch reposted it. That sparked the initial fire because people started noticing his obvious distaste for the food. Then, oddly enough, it went dormant for almost a month. But suddenly, on March 2nd, the whole thing exploded. A TikToker named Undos made a viral parody skit, and the Reddit community got a hold of the footage. By March 3rd, the meme was so mainstream that rival CEOs were literally filming their own retaliation videos.
Section 3. Analyzing the product quotes. Corporate cringe.
Let's forensically dissect his incredibly unnatural corporate phrasing during this taste test, because the words he chose completely destroyed the casual lunch vibe he was supposedly going for. Before he even touches the food, he delivers this line. "I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know." I mean, think about how forced and defensive that sounds. He's preemptively trying to convince the audience that he actually eats the food his own company produces. It sets this incredibly awkward, unbelievable tone right from second one. Then, looking down at this massive burger, he says, "I don't even know how to attack it. There's so much to it." This really highlights his sheepish hesitation. Like one cultural commentator pointed out, the man had an absolute lack of riz when facing down the very burger he sells to millions of people every single day. He honestly looks genuinely terrified of the food. And here is the absolute nail in the coffin. After finally taking a bite, he declares, "I love this product." Just think about how bizarre it is to call a juicy hot hamburger a product while you are actively chewing it. It sounds like he's talking about a lab-manufactured shampoo, not a delicious lunch. And what makes it even worse, which keen-eyed internet users definitely noticed, is that the video actually cuts awkwardly right before he swallows. Naturally, the internet's reaction was swift and merciless. As one commenter brilliantly pointed out, man's aura screams kale salad. It's a brutal, deadpan internet roast for sure, but it perfectly illustrates the massive disconnect between a greasy, indulgent fast food brand and its own milquetoast executive. Section 4. The Squidward Bite Explained. Internet Autopsy. See, the internet didn't just mock his words. They did a full-blown frame-by-frame autopsy of the bite itself, which spawned the viral phenomenon that we now know as the Squidward Bite. This links directly back to the famous Season 3 SpongeBob SquarePants episode titled Just One Bite. In that episode, the cynical character Squidward takes this tiny, hesitant, reluctant nibble out of a Krabby Patty because he's terrified he might actually like it. Well, Kempczinski's bite was so small and so timid that it barely even made a dent in the bun. So of course, it instantly triggered this nostalgic, hilarious comparison all across the web. And man, the internet's verdict was absolutely ruthless. Over on Reddit communities like r/whenThem and r/memes, users were rapid-firing these hilarious conspiracy theories. They claimed the CEO had zero riz. Some joked he was an undercover alien, or maybe a ghoul terrified of human food.
Others were totally convinced he cut the video strictly so he could spit the bite into a napkin. One of the top viral posts was simply a meme of a crying child holding a patty with the caption, "That is not a hamburger."
Section 5, Burger King bites back. Corporate trolling. Now, this whole saga brilliantly illustrates exactly what happens when you show weakness in the brutal fast food world. Rival brands smelled blood in the water and they went right on the attack. The contrast is pretty striking. You've got Kempczinski's fearful, barely visible edge nibble on one side, and on the other, you've got Burger King CEO Josh Kobza's real-time savage retaliation. Literally within 24 hours of the meme exploding, Kobza posted a video of himself taking a massive, enthusiastic, messy bite out of a Whopper. It was an absolute masterclass in corporate trolling. And Burger King wasn't alone here. Brands like Wendy's and A&W also jumped into the pile-on, mocking that whole product, quote, and using the viral moment to highlight their own food.
Section 6. The cost of corporate cringe, PR lessons. So, what's the broader takeaway here about corporate authenticity and the immense dangers of forced relatability online? Well, this quote from a Reddit user really perfectly summarizes the vibe. If McDonald's cares about its future, they need to make sure Kempczinski is anywhere but in front of a camera. It just goes to show that billion-dollar executives often fail spectacularly at trying to appear like regular burger-loving consumers. Some commenters even diagnose this as a Homelander complex. You know, executives who just cannot resist inflating their own egos on camera, even when it actively harms the brand they are representing.
But remember, this is a cycle. If we look back at history, fast food PR disasters are constantly repeating themselves. Remember when a Campbell's executive was caught on leaked audio saying their soup was for poor people and joking about 3D printed chicken? Or what about the massive panic over Taco Bell's fake beef lawsuits years ago? Brands are constantly having to scramble to do damage control. So McDonald's is really just the latest victim caught under the internet's hypercritical lens. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative thought, something to really chew on. This video got millions and millions of views. Yes, it was driven almost entirely by mockery, but did this awkward viral blunder actually result in a massive unintentional win for McDonald's? Did the sheer scale of the internet's obsession with the Squidward bite end up selling more big arches than a perfectly polished multi-million-dollar commercial ever could have? It's a fascinating paradox of the modern internet. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes peeled for the next viral corporate blunder.